All right, we're back on working on our plat, and let's go ahead and take a look at what page 3 of the plat looks like. So here is page 3. All right, so what I'm going to start doing in this one is showing you the labels for the center line of the road and the labels for each of the lots. Now, let's take note of the scale of the map. So the scale of the map is 50. So let's get started on that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm also just going to right click on my tab 2, and I'm going to move or copy, and I'm going to move to the end and create a copy. Okay, now I'm going to right click on the 2 quote 2, and I'm going to rename it to 3. All right, now by doing that, I am going to now change this. I'm going to unlock that, and I'm going to change it to a custom scale, and we're going to call it, add a new one, and it's going to say 1 inch equals 50 feet. My drawing units is 50, and okay, and okay. Now I gotta switch it, click on that, and I am going to switch it to 1 to 50. All right, so let's take a look again to see how that first one was set up. Okay, so it's actually holding the bottom going north. So I'm going to hold the bottom, and you'll have to put the lot numbers in there for yourself. I'm not going to do all that text for you. There is a way to do it, and let me show you a couple different methods. Let me talk to you about the lines themselves. So let's go back to here. So I am going to double click on the inside, and I'm going to pan this up till I can see the bottom. Escape. Double click on the outside. I'm going to go ahead and lock that like that. And then I'm going to just grip this corner and pull it out. And I'm going to grip this corner, need be, and pull it out. Okay? Now, in here, in this one, this layer, this little text right here, if I did a good job, it should be on its own layer, and I should be able to freeze it off through this viewport, and it says it's on CANO, and that's fine. So the text that we make next has to be on CANO or whatever we want to name it. It can't be on CANO, or if it is, then I freeze it off in this viewport. It'll get frozen off, other places, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to go back to page 3, and I am going to I'm going to do this. I'm going to actually go to the model file. This is easier to do, so your text styles are the same. It just changes height. I need to come over here. Okay, I'm going to click on that, and going to, escape. When you click on this one, you got 2 options. You can pull this down and do a text edit, pull this down and go create or edit, or when you click on this, you can right click and go edit label style, and this pops up. It happens the both way. What I want you to do is create a copy of the current selection. By doing that, it makes a copy of exactly the same stuff as you had before, but it's not going to be boundary this time. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to say lot. And in that, I am going to change the layer that it's on, okay? It should have, when I froze it off, apparently it's attached to the CANO layer. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and attached to 0 lot dimensions. And then go OK. Apply and OK. And OK. Now, that's why this one says CNO. All of these should have been, I'm going to change that. Edit, select similar. And I'm going to change that to the 0 border. 0 FAU. 0 boundary dims. Okay. When I do that in this one, they'll actually show back up. So I need to freeze them off through here. Sorry about that. Bad layer management. Do better than me. And now you can see that they're on 0 boundary dims. Yay. Okay. So now that I've got that, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to label this line again. Okay. And here's the problem sometimes with doing everything in one drawing. It gets to be a little bit messy, so just be careful. Some people actually do a boundary drawing and then a individual lot sheet drawing. Check with your company, see what they like to do. So I'm going to go to Annotate. I am going to click up here and add labels. I'm going to go Line and Curve, Single, and I'm going to change that to Lot. Okay. And then I'm going to add. And then I'm going to click on the same line that I had before. Now, no difference, right? Except for the direction. Notice one says south and the other one says north. Let's take a quick look what this one says. That one says south. So here's the thing, is if it's going the wrong direction, then it's really nice. Highlight the label and then just tell it to reverse the label. Nice, huh? And if I want it on the south side, then flip the label. It puts it on the south side. Now, I'm going to slide this bad boy down as such. Now on this text, I need to fix it. So I am going to, when you're highlighting, you could also do, actually I'm going to right click and go Edit Label Style. Okay. I'm actually going to change that height. So on this one, I'm going to Edit Current Selection. And that height is 0.01 for the bigger drawing. I'm going to make it 0.08 for this drawing. Okay. And I'm going to make it 0.08 if I have to pull the leader line out. But once you get the hang of changing the text styles, the label styles, then you should be set. Okay. This one should have been on the boundary. So you can see the difference in heights. Now, again, layer management is important. You don't want the lot one in there. I know this is a lot of back and forth, but bear with me. On this one, it's on the CNO again. It shouldn't be. It automatically defaults there. You have to be really careful with that. I am going to put it to the 0 lot dimensions. It's a template default. And without getting too buried into the quote, what they call the weeds, I'm not going to show you that. Just be aware, once you get one of the labels made, you'll want to do you'll just want to make sure that it's on a layer that you can freeze off. Okay. Whether you want to keep it on the CNO, that's fine too. All right. And then in here, I can freeze this one off. Okay. So now I've got my labels set and ready to go. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, and you can do it through the viewport, just be careful because sometimes if the drawing gets too big, it'll crash if you work through the viewport. But sometimes it's a pain in the butt to work through, I understand, the model space because it gets a little cluttered too. So I'm going to go ahead and go Annotation, Add Labels, and I'm going to go Line, Single Segment. I'm going to do that one, and then I'm going to Add. And I'm just going to click on each one of these. Now, here's the thing. It's like, oh my gosh, it's huge. Well, let me change this to the 1 to 50 and it'll look a lot better. Okay. Just recognize that the scales are a bit off. This is another reason why a lot of the surveyors will actually split the drawing into two, because sometimes this really kind of messes with their drawing sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Okay. Now you don't have to have the word lot when you're labeling them. For the most part, you won't. So I'm just going to move this out of your way. And we're going to go lots. I'm just going to change that piece of text. I am going to show you a way to make parcels that will make labeling lot numbers a lot easier, but I'll do that in the next video, I believe. All right, so I'm going to go along here. You're just going to add these. Okay, so that's one. You're also going to add them on your lines. Okay, now here's the thing, is you actually, when you have an intersection, you have to break that center line into two pieces. So it has at each intersection. If you take a look at the plat, I'll go to page 4 just to show you. Notice that it's broken, has a large dot here, and has the labels on each side, okay? So whenever you have an intersection, the center line gets broken at that intersection. And when I say broken, it's just use your home, modify that single break line, and then select the object, and then endpoint. Make sure that you don't have any gaps in there. Okay, so zoom in on it, extend it, make sure there's no gaps. So I'm going to do that again, modify, break. Make sure that it's split into two. And these should extend to the end. Okay, it should extend to the end. Center these up, because here's the thing, you do get reviewed based on how clean your drawing looks, so don't make it look crappy. All right, here. And if it shows up on one, you'll probably have to put it in there twice, like one on this side and one on this side, okay? Because you have to be able to read it through the whole thing, okay? So, because this is going to be, watch what happens when I break this line here. So I go modify. You'll have to add the heavy dots to the center. Notice how they get all on one side. I don't know if it'll let me jump to the other side either. Nope, not that. See, won't even let me pull it to the other side, so no use in labeling them until you get them broken, okay? So, and just typing in break doesn't work. You'll have to use the single break, or you trim it and then extend it. So options, options, options. You also will want to just go ahead and explode that center line to make them into bits and pieces. And then you're just going to add. I can't seem to touch that one. All right, this actually gets trimmed off, TR, and it gets trimmed off up here because it doesn't go off our plat. All right, now you'll have to clean up the labels here. So I'm going to click on the label just to show you how easy it is to clean it up, and edit label style, select, right click, pull this down, edit current selection, and then your stacked is going to be 0.08. And sometimes they do the center lines a little bit bigger, and the radius and distance is going to be 0.08. And the delta is going to be 0.08. We might have to add additional information on this. It depends. And you're going to go up. Okay. Oh, one more thing. I'm going to modify it for one more time. It should be on not 0. This is what I was telling you is the defaulting issues. We're going to do it on lot dems. Okay, apply, and okay, and okay. All right, so that looks better. All right, now see how it looks here. All right, see how they're not on? It's because this is what I say you have to be, and it's frustrating. Even though I told it to go to the lot dems, look, it's putting on Ciano. So you're going to select one, select similar. Notice it's not picking that one because it's not on Ciano. So we'll change that to 0 and lot dems. Escape. We'll check out page 2. Don't get so far ahead that you don't check periodically, because then it just bites you in the butt to have to clean up a lot later. Okay, looking pretty good. Check to see on our master plan to see the direction that these are going. And remember, click on it, switch. When you click on it, you have the option to flip. Click on it, you have the option to flip and reverse the label, meaning it can go from north to south to south to north. All right. Now, there is another way to label, and it's called line between 2 points. And usually that is a distance only. And the reason it's a distance only, I'm going to go ahead and edit this, is because if it has the same bearing, I'm going to change this to dimensions. If it has the same bearing, then we only need the intermediate dimensions, right? So I'm going to give it 0.08. Can't type again. There's not a dragged state, so just FYI, I like, just for consistency's sake, I just make sure they all stay the same. The arrow, like I said, no drag state. Apply, and okay. So the other thing I'm going to go, no, it doesn't matter. Click on add. And depending on which end you pick first, if you pick this endpoint to this endpoint, endpoint to endpoint. Oh, notice you can't see it. Now if I go to the model file, sorry guys, it's putting everything on Ciano. Frustrating. I've got 2 of them here now. Delete. Okay, so I don't want it on the outside. Take a look. It's on the inside, right? So you can do it by flip. You can select it and flip, or I'll do that in a minute. Changing from Ciano. You can actually go from south to north, okay? And it puts it on the right side, south to north. So this one's actually going to be north to south, north to south, okay? And then I'll end up labeling this with a smaller piece of text. So if I go back to the single segment, the lot, add, I can pick not that line, I can pick that line. So then I just, because that's on Ciano, and I go right click, select similar. Again, you've got to be careful. Right click, select similar, and this is going to all go on lot dims. All right, now that is one way to label. I'm gonna do one more. You could also, like, let's say you only have a couple of them. Oops, wrong direction. I'm just going to flip it. All right. You could probably use the MA for match properties. MA, enter, and pick this piece of text and pick that piece of text. And then when I pick it, it should say lot dims. Okay, that's one option, doing them individually and then putting the text in there. Here's another option. So just give me a few more minutes. You can actually, I'm going to isolate lay ISO. Now, when you're doing plats, you have to make sure that this line touches this line. Sometimes they don't touch, and we can still label. For example, if we didn't realize and that line had a gap in it, it would still allow us to label it. So what a lot of the surveyors do is they'll actually extend the line to the center line. I'm not going to turn the center line on, but they'll extend the line and then they'll come back and trim the line. I know that's a lot of extra work, but the dimensions have to be absolutely correct or you're going to have to replat. So when you're doing this, make sure that your lines are correct. The depths are correct. Now, you can also create parcels, so you can do parcels. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to create a layer, and I'm going to create that layer, and I'm going to, I got to get out of that. I'm going to create a layer, and I'm going to call it 0-parcels. I'm going to turn that on, and make that current, and I'm going to give it a yellow color just so I can see it. Okay. Now, I'm going to type in BO, and the reason I'm creating boundaries, BO, dialog box pops up. Let me go get it. And it says pick a point. So I am going to create individual boundaries. So they're just closed polylines. I'm just going to show you a few. So those are my parcels. Now you can come up here and go parcels, create parcels from objects. The nice thing about this one is it allows you to renumber all of the parcels, and it allows you to grip edit the parcel if you so choose to change the parcel, and enter. Now, it'll allow you to pick a parcel number. It will allow you to automatically label. I'm going to go ahead and erase the entities. Sometimes I keep the entities, sometimes I don't. And we are going to call it, we're going to use bearing, FAU lot bearing and distance. There's no curve, so it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to go OK. And it's thinking. The only thing is that it over labels, unfortunately. And then you have to delete what you don't want. But sometimes it's nice to have the parcels in itself just because it's easier to manipulate. Okay, I'm going to type in LA, and I am going to select all and turn everything back on. Okay. See how it over labels absolutely everything. All right. So you end up having to delete, and it's multiple. So I don't know which is faster. I do know if you don't label them, then let me undo. I'm going to undo the parcels. I'm going to create the parcels again, but this time I'm not going to label them. So parcels from objects. Now the other reason it's nice, telling you, having to retype all those lot numbers is a pain in the butt. So I do this just for the sheer fact of the lot numbers. I don't want to erase the entity because I'll just freeze those off. And I don't want to label anything. And then I'm going to go, okay. And then I'm going to type in LA, and then I'm going to turn everything back on. Select all. All right. So now I've got my parcels, right? And LA. Something is frozen off. Select all. Let me unfreeze all that because it should have a parcel. Well, look at all that. Appears there's lot numbers and a boatload of other stuff in there that I didn't realize was on there. That's just text. All right, so select similar. Let me get rid of those. Not what I wanted to touch. I didn't realize there was so much stuff on in there, guys. And delete that, just get it out of the way. Well, let me freeze. Let me undo quite a bit of that. It's a parcel. So if I come over here, I don't know why it's not letting me label. Okay, underneath the sites, site 1, parcels, parcel property. If I go to the properties of that, parcel number, let's see where that's labeled. It is on C prop text. That's where it's supposed to be going. And it's pretty substantial in height. So let's go LA, and then layer 0's on, star, I can't type, PRO. Let me do that again. The visibility says it's true. Can label visibility says it's false. Let's try true. There we go. Whew. Okay, so that text is a bit big. So we can clean that up. Just give me one more minute, sorry. We can go properties. I can't seem to be, oh, it's because I've got 2 selected. Let me select the number, right click, edit parcel style. That's not where I wanted to see it. I don't work with parcels as much other than labeling it, so it's edit parcel style, parcel properties. Let's try it up here. This is going to be easier to find. Sometimes it's like it's buried too deep. I'm going to edit that. I'm going to change the layout. I should have changed it when I seen it. So 0.08, and you could drag it to, so we'll go ahead and 0.08, apply, and okay, and okay. All right, so let's say, I'm going to go ahead and delete that regular piece of text out of there. Let's say I wanted to change the parcel numbers and start this at number 3. When you click on a parcel, you can click on number and rename. And what pops up is I can start numbering at 3 increments of 1. Okay. And then you just pick your start point and align through all of the parcels you want to change. Hit enter again, and notice that it automatically changes it. Okay. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to renumber and rename, and I'm going to actually start that at 1. You can change it as many times as you want, but can you imagine if you had to actually go in and do single text to make up your mind? Not fun. And then okay, and then pick through these and enter and enter. And there we go. Starts at 1. All right, I'm going to stop here. Go ahead and start labeling these however you want. If you want to use the text, then that's fine. If you want to learn how to use the parcels, that's fine also. All right. I will see you next video.